Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fashion Grunge Podcast. I am your host, Lauren. And guess what? Mike is here again.
I'm back.
Yeah. Wait, what movie is that? Where they're like, I'm back. Was that Poltergeist?
I think it's Poltergeist.
He's back. Is that what it is?
Here.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was like, they're here. And also I'm thinking of Independence Day, where like the guy was at Randy Quaid, and he's like, "Hello, boys, I'm back," and like flies up into the alien ship. Yeah, what's up? This is another episode, and today we are going to be talking about Scream.
I'm so excited.
I'm so fucking excited because, yeah, it's from 1996, directed by Wes Craven. I'm sure you've seen this. If you haven't, do not listen to this podcast because we're going to tell you who the killer is and talk about it.
If you've done it, you're going to know.
Yeah, you're totally going to know. And also like and subscribe, 5 stars, all that jazz. Yeah, just give us a review because more people should
listen. Quick and easy. Do it.
Super quick and easy. Yeah, if you have Apple, if you're listening on Apple, because nowhere else you can review it, just Apple. So that's crazy. But how have you been doing? Just in general, what's been going on since the last time we talked?
I mean, I've been good. I mean, I'm slowly becoming a Yeti. I need a haircut really badly. And,
yeah. I cut my hair a little while ago.
Oh, did you?
I mean, it's awful, but I can still put it in a ponytail, so no one can tell, like a guy.
True. I mean, I almost want to like grow my hair out, but then because I've got that Jufro curse kind of thing going on, it's like getting a little crazy.
It's cool though. You've got like a thick head of hair.
You could put a comb in it and it just gets stuck.
Yeah, same here. So it's like, yeah, but hey, it's better to have like too much hair.
This is true than none at all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if that's your thing. So that's cool.
Yeah. You been good?
Yeah, man, like same old, literally same shit, different day.
Yeah, I think I've reached the end of Netflix and Hulu, and
I have too. I'm really over it. I've been watching Queer as Folk again. I'm like deep into season 3. We were gonna do a podcast on Queer as Folk, but it is quite an undertaking to do a TV show and to actually like. It's also very expensive. I don't know if people know, like it costs a lot of money to have a podcast if you're going to have like hundreds of episodes.
You got to be committed.
Yeah, super committed. Yeah. So I don't know if that's something that would even be on the docket, but I mean, we would still do it, but I don't know.
We could do like just like a one-shot special if you want.
Yeah, we could do a bonus if anyone cares about it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, especially with what, 6 seasons, 5 seasons?
I think 5. Yeah,
it's a lot to cover in one episode. But
yeah, like per episode. Yeah, like one episode per show. Yeah, it's a lot.
But we can do it. I mean, if people on your end say yay or nay,
Yeah, people on both of our ends. Yeah, I should take a poll or something. But I feel like people are so young. Like people who follow Fashion Grunge are a lot younger than I am. So I feel like
who's Michael Novotny?
Yeah, they would be. They don't. Well, none of those people are really famous. Like none of the actors in the show never got crazy famous after the show, so it's not like they would even know and want to watch it like to see what they used to do. But
true.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, let's talk about Scream because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And yeah, what were your first impressions of the film, or like when did you first see it? We have a similar. We were in school together. Like disclaimer, when this came out. So.
Oh yeah, 96. What?
Yeah.
Like
we're in 7th grade.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, one of the best movies of all time, I think, in the horror genre.
It's pretty good.
Around that year, there wasn't a lot of good slasher horror films being released. I feel like there were a lot of sequels, or whatever you say after a sequel. There was like Children of the Corn 4, Tremors 2, Leprechaun 4.
Yeah, the Gremlins. Didn't Gremlins have a bunch?
They
Chucky?
had 2, but yeah. I mean, yeah, there was The Craft that same year, a couple months before, which Nev Campbell also is in. So that was kind of cool.
And Skeet Ulrich too.
And Skeet Ulrich. Is that his last name? Ulrich.
I think it's Ulrich. Yeah, I think I finally saw him say it somewhere.
But that's really cool. It's another use of like reusing actors in different scenarios. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
But the first time I saw the movie, actually, I took my mom to go see it, and you know my mom, and I mean a lot of people don't, but she screams at like the drop of a hat. So to pick this movie out of every movie that was going on, like we had a thing going on where it was like every other week we'd go see a movie in the theater. It was kind of like our bonding time without
That's
talking
cool.
in a way. But she was like screaming through half the thing, and then conveniently 2 years later, when Scream 2 came out, I believe 2 years, yeah. My friend Reed and his mom and my mom and me, we went to go see it, and I purposely put the parents in the back, and then Reed and I in the second row.
Oh, no way. We had to get like, I went with one of, I think I was like Carolina, like one of our other friends from the grade, and her mom bought us the tickets because we obviously weren't 17.
Oh yeah,
And it was like rated R. And yeah, we went, and I remember I had this like really obnoxious coat, like big puffy coat, and I was like putting it over my head, like over my eyes because I was so scared. I was like, oh god, there's gonna be jump scares.
it definitely
Like
has a lot of jump scares.
in the second one, you mean, or this one?
Actually, I think more the first one than the second one.
Yeah, this one had a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, why don't you? Okay, so so you saw it in the theater. I saw it, the first one, I maybe at your house even. Like, didn't we do a really embarrassing like short film at some point, like
Oh my
pretending to be
god,
streamed? Like, we have a kind
I
of sordid
totally
history
forgot
of
about.
how could you forget? And then you used to call on the phone and be like, "What's your favorite scary movie?" Like this was a thing before social media, people. Like
and
this
and
is
and I
like
think
what
I
you
tried to
do.
mask my voice before the actual like
Mhm.
recorder came out.
And it was scary because people were
Mhm.
really freaked out. It was like, "Oh my god, this
Oh
is
yeah,
what we did before we had Netflix." This is like,
I had like a camcorder. We'd go around the corner, and I think it was like you and Gregorio,
oh my god,
Carolina, me, and
was it like Matt?
Amanda.
Oh,
Amanda and
Amanda,
Matt. Yeah,
yeah. It was crazy.
and I had the
We
costume.
like, yeah, yeah, and it was like really weird. I was like, "Oh my god," I was like, "We're totally gonna have to talk about this embarrassing thing." But thankfully, I have no idea where that tape is.
Me
Do
neither.
you?
No.
Yeah, I was like, "It's not gonna come out, so it would be super embarrassing."
Uh,
But yeah, so that's about like the first time. I mean, I was young. It was
but
a big thing. It was a
oh
huge
yeah,
movie.
huge movie,
Yeah, it was just
and it's still talked about today. I mean, that's why we're talking about it.
yeah, and Scream
But
5 apparently is coming out.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so Nev Campbell isn't confirmed, but there was a YouTube video with her getting interviewed a couple weeks ago where she goes, "Well, we're in talks about it. Whoever's taking it over, I can't remember,
Oh.
because Wes Craven is no longer with us."
Oh,
Um,
that's right.
so originally she was like, "No," because it was Wes Craven's vision. I don't want to do a movie without him, but whoever took it over is like trying to convince her, and she's like, kind of, sort of, maybe. But yesterday I read an article that actually had David Arquette confirmed.
Oh, I was gonna
Come
say
back
the
as
rest
Deputy
of them.
Dewey.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
Yeah. Oh,
she'll
most likely. I mean,
yeah, she might come back.
if
Like, why not?
if the others are vocal about it, hopefully they'll be like, "Come on, come to the team."
Is Gail Weathers?
No, he
What do you
David Arquette is the only one that I heard.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Cool.
but I love how this didn't have an intro at all. Like most movies have like long intros, music in the background. It just like comes down with the word scream. Phone starts ringing, and it's just like quiet. It's like perfection.
I know, it's so good.
It sets you up, and it's like very classic kind of move to have like the girl all alone in the big house being
Yeah.
terrorized. Oh my god! Like
Wait,
that whole.
give us the synopsis of the story so those know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is a
So
short.
it's a teenage slasher film about a girl who, a year after her mother's murder, is being stalked and targeted by the same killer. Killer uses like a lot of horror movies and their references as their drive to want to kill her and her friends.
Yeah, pretty much. There
Hopefully,
we go.
it wasn't too fast for people.
No, it's super chill. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Scream is
Yeah, I
at
mean
this point.
they have to.
You should.
But
If you're into movies at all, you should.
it's so tastefully done from start to finish. You really could, for me anyway. I mean, as a young boy, I was like, I could really feel that panic in my chest of like, shit, this could have really happened in real life. It's not like,
Yeah.
Child's Play, Gremlins, all the alien stuff. It's
Mhm.
even though those are cool, you're like, damn it. Especially in this day and age, not that I want to go too far into that Pandora's box,
No.
but you never know.
I didn't even think about that. That usually like all the horror movies that had come out before that were really popular were all kind of like a fantasy element, like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like nothing was real. It was
Mhm.
very like this is obviously fake. Like
Oh
this
yeah,
is a weird situation.
and I think, I mean, even though this is it's almost a horror movie within a horror movie, kind of poking fun at it while still being horrific. I lost my point.
But not as funny as Scary Movie, which
But not.
was fucking
Oh
hilarious.
yeah.
Which I need to watch again because I haven't seen that first one in a really long time. Like I've seen the other ones kind of
Are they
recently,
aren't
but
they like up to 20?
they're up to a lot. I feel like they've done like 6. They're done past Scream. They've definitely done like 5 or 6.
Oh wow.
They're really
That's
funny
crazy.
though. Wait, so you have more of the behind the scenes drama and how all of this came to fruition, I guess.
Yeah, I messed that
Since we got that one.
word up the other day. I said fruitation or
Yeah.
something like that. But actually, yeah, this is loosely based on a real event that happened in 1990 in Gainesville, Florida. A man murdered 5 students and attempted to murder his father. He killed a total of 8 people. That was between Florida and Louisiana. Actually, I read this on Wikipedia, but it doesn't go into like how he went from Florida to Louisiana. Like there was no rhyme or reason. He just did that, and then later he was sentenced to death by lethal injection in 2006.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It didn't say like he was wearing a costume or anything. I think it was just that was for theater purposes and to get people's attention.
Oh, okay.
But interestingly enough, and my stomach started turning when I read this. In the movie, how how like the character of Casey, played by Drew Barrymore, she was
Mhm.
like hung up and displayed while her guts were like pouring out,
Yeah. Did
so
he
her
do
parents could
that?
see. Yep, this killer posed his victims. Didn't say how or wasn't explained like in what position. Excuse me. But yeah, he posed his victims.
Oh
I was just
god.
reading this, like holding my stomach, going, "What in God's
No.
name?" Yeah, I found that interesting. But he's known as the Gainesville Reaper, and he's still talked today through like a couple of I think it was like a CSI episode,
Oh, I'm
um,
sure.
and some other things. There's a documentary somewhere. I think it's on Netflix or Hulu. I can't remember what it's called. Um, but the production companies, shortly after this was released, was scrutinized and ridiculed for the start of people dressing up like the killer,
Yeah, like
known as Ghostface.
copycat.
Yeah, terrorizing and murdering people across the United
Oh,
States.
like people actually died because of
Yep. Oh yeah.
film, you mean? Like because of Scream?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. And then this was originally a short story. Um, Kevin Williamson, you said wrote it.
Yeah, who
He
did
wrote it.
Dawson's Creek?
Yeah, he wrote a short story, kind of like what we were talking about with Go a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
just to like pay his bills, and he was like selling it off and everything, and then but he was also working on teaching Mrs. Tingle at the same time. That didn't come
Jesus.
out until like 90, excuse
Like
me, 98,
9?
99. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was really interesting to find like all these things like I didn't know about the killer.
Yeah.
I
There was a
knew
lot of
that.
background on Scream. I was like scanning it, but I was like, "Oh, no, I know that you're gonna have a better, like, grip on it because 'cause you're more of a horror movie fan than I am." But I was
I'm
like,
such a nerd when it comes to horror.
yeah.
I love it.
So I was like, "Oh, he's gonna read all this," but then I was like, "Whoa, there's so much information, like, how
Oh
it
my.
came together and, like, how they cast it and, like, the whole thing."
Oh yeah. I mean, it was cool to find out that Brittany Murphy tried out for the role of Sydney,
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
and then Drew Barrymore was asked to be Sydney, but she had like some kind of scheduling conflict, whatever movie she was working on, I guess, before.
I
And
always heard a different story. I always heard that. See, we don't know because obviously Wikipedia, like who the hell knows? But I heard that like she read the script and she wanted to be the first girl. Like she didn't want to be the main character. Like she said, I'll only do it if I could be the first girl, like who dies right there. But then when I was reading the Wikipedia, it said she had to drop out due to scheduling, that she just couldn't.
So you don't know which one is.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, yeah, which one. Like, hopefully, maybe Drew Barrymore will guest on the pod.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Oh my god, shout out if anyone knows Drew Barrymore.
So
Would love to have a Scream recap with her.
But then it was cool to find out like other actors and actresses, like Janine Garofalo was supposed to audition for Gale Weathers.
Yeah, how weird would that be?
Justin, my partner Justin, he said like he could see it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Maybe, but then she never would have met David Arquette, and then they never would have gotten married.
And then divorced years later.
That's true, yeah, or had a child, and then
I heard, and I don't know if this was a rumor actually. So in what was it at the end of Scream 2? Doesn't David Arquette, Deputy Dewey, like propose to her, or is that the third one? It's either the second one or the third one, where he actually like has a book and it's cut out in the middle and has a ring in it.
Oh, that might be the third one, because I've seen the second a fair amount of times, and I don't remember.
So it is the third one. That was actually the real proposal.
No way, really?
Yeah. Well, supposedly it was rumored.
Oh wow, that's funny.
But then, yeah, like I guess during the filming of 4, they broke up. They own a film company together. But I was about to call her Gail. Courtney Cox. She owns the company. Like I guess it was like in their divorce papers, like she can take the company.
Oh, okay. So she just owns it herself.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
But now she's not married, living with the lead singer of Snow Patrol.
Oh, really? I love how you did a deep dive on Courtney Cox.
Sorry, yeah.
Like, current romantic situation. Cool.
This is what we do in quarantine.
Yeah, I know. Let's totally deep dive. We can also talk about how Skeet Ulrich is leaving Riverdale because he's bored creatively, apparently. And I was like, but I was only watching this show for like the hot dads, and Luke Perry is gone, and you were like the hot dad that's keeping me in Riverdale, and I'm out of Riverdale now. Like, I want Billy Loomis. Like, what's happening?
Billy Loomis. I loved how that. I know we're kind of getting a little off track, but I loved, side note, how that Loomis is Billy's last name, right, in the movie. But it's also a nod to Halloween, because the doctor in Halloween is Dr. Loomis.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
So they have a lot of like actual like Halloween references, more so than the other horror movies that they reference.
They do, yeah.
It's fantastic.
That one is the most. They talk about Jamie Lee a lot.
Yeah, she's like the ultimate Scream Queen, remains the ultimate Scream Queen today.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. I mean, she's like in her 60s, and she's still doing the Halloween movies, which is amazing.
Yeah, aren't they doing another one? Or did she just do the recent one? The one that was
the new ones are supposed to be a direct continuation of the first 2, like from back in the day.
Oh yeah, because
you're supposed to like forget all the other ones that happened.
Oh,
like H2O, the one with Busta Rhymes,
Tyra
Banks.
Trick or treat, motherfucker. That's literally like all I remember.
That's the only thing I remember.
Yeah, it was just awful.
But like, I mean, I love it because it's back in the beginning scene where I'm just going to call it like Casey's death scene. Her father and mother come in, from a night on the town or whatever. They hear Casey on the phone right before, as they're on the phone, and she's like, "Oh my God, Mom," whatever. The father turns to the mom, says, "Drive down to the Mackenzies and call the police." The same direct line is used by Jamie Lee Curtis talking to her son in Halloween H2O.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was like, what? Cool. Yeah. So they really like bow down to Halloween hardcore.
Wow, that's crazy. When that's like Carpenter, that's like the first. That's like one of the first like original horror movies, isn't it? Halloween,
Yeah.
like the first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
And
what existed before that? That was horror. Everything before that was like Hitchcock.
yeah,
I
pretty
mean, like
much.
that was pretty much like the only like you got Psycho, and there might have been a few underground like directors that I don't know about. There's like Dracula's, there's like those type of horror, but it wasn't like an original story like a Hitchcock or like like a random person in this day and age like where something really happens. Do you know if Halloween was based on someone? Like was Michael Myers based on anyone?
Actually, I haven't researched that yet.
Yeah, I wonder.
I'll definitely get back to you on that.
Yeah, because I feel like that it seems very much like a Ted Bundy kind of thing. Like he purposefully got like babysitters, which means like he knew they were like alone in a house. Like I thought maybe someone in a neighborhood like, knew that there were these young girls who, watched kids and knew they were alone in like the 60s or 70s.
I mean,
whatever.
And I don't want to sugarcoat it, but I'm sure like something definitely like that happens. I mean,
yeah, or something was inspired by. I'm
Yeah.
sure like you can just read through the papers, of towns, I guess, and find instances that happen, and then write stories around it.
mhm.
And also, I found an interesting note that Skeet Ulrich was cast because he looked a lot like Johnny Depp from Nightmare on Elm Street, which is what
Yeah, I
everyone.
can see that.
Yeah, and like everyone when it first came out was like, "Oh my god, this guy looks just like Johnny Depp." And I was like, "Yeah, he does," but it's interesting to find out that like that was kind of on purpose
Mhm.
because like Wes Craven obviously didn't he do the original Nightmare on Elm Street?
Mhm.
Yeah, so like he obviously had those connections, and then remember he had like the janitor in the school that was like Fred. When the principal was like, "Sorry, Fred," and he's literally dressed like Freddy Krueger, like a split second, and I was like, "Oh, Wes Craven."
Poor Freddy Krueger.
I know. Poor Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, yeah.
Pretty iconic death scene for any horror movie fans. If
Oh
you
yeah.
have not seen it, I will not ruin it, but you should go see it because if you like Scream, you should have already seen Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I mean,
Most likely, but maybe you
They
haven't.
keep
Maybe
going.
you're young and you haven't. Yeah, go.
Or
watch it.
I mean, the reboot. If you have seen the reboot, it means nothing.
No,
I
yeah,
mean,
you gotta watch the
they
one from like
tried,
the
but
80s,
yeah.
like 81 or whatever.
But
Cool.
going back to plot point real quick.
Yeah.
So trying to look at it through fresh eyes, I guess.
Yeah, how did you see it again? Because you've seen it so many times.
My two questions that I really had was Gale Weathers, right? So like I loved it from, like I said, from the beginning. Casey's death scene was like fantastic.
That's obviously one of our favorite scenes. So
Favorite of all time.
it's just amazing. It's just
But like in the middle of the movie, it kind of gets a little wonky for me, where I didn't get why. I guess maybe that's toward the end. Is that why Gale Weathers? Why she would go to like a party that's full of teens, no other adults around, where I'm like, I just like she's just wandering around town at night. And then like I was talking to my partner Justin earlier, and he was like, well, I mean, anyone in her position would want to just stick around to get that scoop because she doesn't want to be forgotten, and then plus there's a big paycheck at the end, so she's willing to just go with this deputy doofus as he's called by his sister, to just get the story. Plus, like, she covered Nev Campbell's character Sydney, her mother's murder the year before, so she's like, I'm gonna finish what I started.
I don't remember. Okay, here's what I thought from why she was at the party, because I was just thinking, I just literally just finished watching it like a little while ago, and I was thinking of some things that were kind of problematic. I was like, okay, high school party. Okay, she rolled up in the news van with her cameraman, so she didn't roll up with Dewey.
Yeah,
Dewey drove. What's her name? Casey. Not Casey, Sydney and Tatum, because he was like supposed to watch them, right? So he was just going to drive them to the party, and was he supposed to drop them off or just sit in his car and like wait for them to be done? And then
that was actually never explained. Although,
like, why did he stick around?
Here for protection or something.
Yeah, but then they were in high school and they were all drinking, which is kind of weird. But I thought that she showed up because I thought maybe she followed Dewey because she knew that Dewey was watching Sydney. And just like you said, she wants to get the scoop, so she's going to follow Sydney because she was already attacked once. So she probably figures like, okay, like she could get attacked again, and I want to be there to do it. And also I thought, as a kind of a dumb reason when looking into it the first time, was that up until that point we didn't really know who did it. So like
Sure.
they still had to keep all the characters kind of in one place, so you didn't really know who did it yet. Because if you obviously took Gail and the cameraman out, like, and you never saw them again, you'd be like, oh, okay, they did it because they're trying to create a story. So maybe it's the cameraman and it's Gail because they're trying to like film a murder. They're trying to like do a murder and film it. So
sense.
I'm thinking that maybe they had to keep them all in the same place. So you're still like, oh shit, it could be her. Like you still didn't really know yet. It was, I mean, I kind of thought they gave it away at the video store when like
Yeah,
they
I
gave
mean,
up on Randy. But I mean, when I was really young, I didn't see that. Like I didn't see that as obvious. But now when I watch it, I'm like, okay, it's clearly these two guys because they're like really into talking about this. And like, you just tell by their whole demeanor when they like are on both sides of Randy.
basically. And
Yeah.
Sydney put it perfectly, where she's like, "You two fucks have seen too many horror movies."
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, it's clearly these two guys.
Yeah.
And he was like laughing. And there's so many different, there is so funny, like that you talk about it. There's so many different references. Like I love when, just going back to when I think the first murder happened with Casey, and all of them are back at school, and Stu and Tatum are in the hallway, and then people like run through with the costume.
Oh
and
yeah.
scaring people, and then like Stu's laughing, and he's like, "Haha, this is great," and Tatum's like,
Sure.
"Idiot, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, where's Billy?" And he's like, "Oh, what? After you branded in the candy man?" Like, no, I'm sure like he
Oh, I
wants.
didn't even get
I'm sure he wants to
that.
talk to you. And she's like, oh, and like, you know, Sydney's like, oh, whatever. And then she like bumps into him and he's like, why don't you just get over the fact that your mom was murdered? I mean, what the fuck? I was like, whoa, he's like gaslighting her here.
Oh,
And then he uses it again to like sleep with her. Um, it's just like, yeah, it's I love their completely toxic relationship and how she's like completely willing to put up with this guy being so weird and like I don't know. It's just he's just so awful, but he's hot. I guess.
yeah.
Like, is that her motivation for being with him? I don't. They don't seem like they're dating at all. Like Tatum and Stu kind of seem great for each other because they're just kind of like they have that like rapport. But I feel like you never see that with Sydney and Billy. It always
You don't see like a caring, like, I don't know.
No, he's all about sex.
Yeah.
When the first time you meet him, climbing through her window, he's all about sex.
Oh yeah.
And then he's a boy. I mean, he's like a high school boy. So I mean,
that's all we're programmed.
Yeah, I mean, I think until even way after high school, it just doesn't stop there.
It doesn't go away.
What's your other thing? What's your other plot point?
Oh yeah, so my other weird plot point, I guess, was that so most of the adults, or the only prevalent adults that you see, is the sheriff, Gail, and Henry Winkler, who plays the principal. I love it. I freaking love that. But I'm like, where are all the other parents? They're like completely. Did they win a cruise somewhere? You know,
I guess they're also rich. Sydney's dad went out of town.
Oh, and he went out of town. You don't see him until like the very end of the movie.
You see him in the beginning.
Well, I mean,
remember he busts in the room. Yeah, and then he's like, I'm going to town, and then that's when he hears it, I think.
But then when
he's on the other side of the bed, and I think he hears that he's like, I'm going out of town and I'm staying here. Yeah. I wonder if that's what planted him. That's what planted the seed of like, let's frame the dad, because he's already come into her room and he's like hiding on the other side of the bed, and he hears the dad tell her like where he's going to be. And he's like, I'm staying at the Hilton by the airport. I'm going out of town till Monday. And she's like, yep. So he hears it. Yeah, so I wonder if he's like, oh shit, she's not going to be here. He's not going to be here. Like, let's frame the dad. It's really easy, unless that was their plan the whole time. I mean, it could have been.
And then it was interesting because, like, again, I was talking to Justin earlier about it, and I was like questioning, and he goes, well, kind of makes sense, because even to this day, people will do the weirdest thing because possibly of, you know, parent abandonment, and it's a reflection of what might happen to kids if, you know, you take your parents away, and that they don't pay attention to their kids. They're going to take situations and stuff into their own hands however they see fit.
And you also see that, like, when Billy's arrested and his dad's in the precinct, and the dad, and then like the
Yeah, he's just
sheriff
so laid back.
questioning.
He's like,
Yeah, he's so laid back, and he's like, "You went out last night?"
yeah.
Like, he didn't even know.
Mhm.
Like, so either he was home and didn't hear the door open, or he just doesn't care. And he was like, "You went out last night?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, what's the big deal? I got bored. I decided to go for a ride." So he doesn't even really know, like, what's going on just in general. And like, "Did you happen to ride by Casey's house?" And he's like,
Right.
"No, I was 2."
And then side note, side note, why would you tell your girlfriend you were watching The Exorcist and thinking about her in a sexual kind of way?
And make that weird, like, hand motion of, like, slashing.
Right.
Like, I was like, "Wait, we just started. He did it." Like,
Right.
we just started that whole there are so many good scenes, because that's another good scene, that whole scene when he bursts into her room, not bursts,
Mhm.
but, like, climbs into her room, and, like, she's just like, "No, we can't mess around." And then he's like, "Yeah, but we can." And I was like, "Oh, for God's sake." I was like, "This is too much." Like, he's not dating you. Like, he's definitely sleeping with Tatum too. Like,
Oh, that would be interesting.
the way the character the way the character would be, I feel like he's a dick guy who
Oh,
would
yeah.
probably sleep with, like, her friend, and just, like, not care about it. It's just and then also we never I have a question. We never explain why she has, like, a teletype on her internet computer that
I
dials the
don't
phone out.
that does
Like,
I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen anyone that had it.
in 1996, no less. I mean, this
Mhm.
is not like now when it's really easy to actually, I don't even know. Is there a way to even get 911 on a teletype right now? A way that I don't know. I'm sure there
Yeah, I
probably
have
is.
no idea, yeah.
Even that's now, it's kind of weird. But I remember being back then, like, no one in her house is hearing impaired, as far as I know in the story. Why does she have this?
Yeah.
Like, that was just another convenient, like, plot point, probably. Like, this happened
No,
all out.
that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I was like, "This is weird. Why does she have that?"
Right?
It's, like, so funny. And also, a lot of another really funny thing is when another funny thing that they bring up, that's another movie reference, is that's not horror related, is when Tatum is like, let's rent a movie. What about Tom Cruise? All the right moves. If you pause it right at, you can
His
see his penis."
penis.
So I was
Actually,
like,
you can.
I've never seen that movie. I
Yeah.
actually, like, looked it up. I, like, paused the movie and, like, Googled, like, all the right moves. I was like, "What is this movie?" And then it was, like, about a football thing? I don't know. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
Did you watch it because she mentioned that?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it, not recently, but, like, a while ago, yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, "Well, let me just try it."
yeah, I wanna see it. I mean, I like Tom Cruise a lot, so
I used to. I mean, now he's because of that whole Scientology.
I don't care. I don't care about his whatever. I just like his movies.
I like the Mission Impossible ones. I don't think I saw the last one,
It
or
was good
they're
with Henry
working on another
Cavill.
one. Yeah.
That one was good. And Angela Bassett is a good one.
Yeah.
I liked it. For
Oh, okay.
for what it was, I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
I also really enjoy when, like, I love the comedy that comes in to the film too, because it's definitely like a comedic horror slasher
Yep.
film too, and I love it's near the beginning of the film, but it's after. I also love the like actual shot and how it's set up, but I love when you see all of them sitting at that water fountain. It's like all of the friends,
Very.
and it's like all it's like, well, it's what, five of them, like the
Mhm.
two couples and then Randy.
Randy.
And then when Randy's just like, "Oh, did you put her liver in the mailbox?" And they're all like laughing about it, and then that's when Billy gets like really offended because Stu's talking about how to gut people. I was like, okay,
Right.
they kind of made it obvious, but I guess I didn't see it like when I was really young.
Liver alone. Get it?
Yeah,
Liver alone.
I didn't really get it, but I was like, oh, okay, now I get it that I'm really dumb and that this is totally like their movie.
And I
But
I love
yeah.
how, like, Randy's, like, basically kind of like the narrator, and he's, like, telling everybody he sees, he's like, "This is how you survive a horror movie," and he's in a horror movie.
Mhm.
And that one scene where it's, like, toward the end where most everybody leaves because he gets the news that the principal died, and he's, like,
Oh,
hanging
that's
from
right.
the football rafters or something.
Yeah.
But he remains in the house, still watching Halloween. Like Halloween, like I said, I love, and it's referenced a lot. I feel like it's been going on for like ever and a day during this scene,
Yeah, it's,
and
like, still going, yeah. We're still talking
and
about it.
and as he's like talking to Jamie Lee Curtis's character on the TV, Ghostface comes around And he's like, behind you, Jamie, behind you. And obviously his character's name is Jamie. I mean, like, the actor's name is Jamie because it's Jamie Kennedy. And
Oh, that's
Ghostface is
right.
behind him, and he looks like he's going to kill him until he hears, like, Sydney screaming for help in the background.
Yeah.
But I love it. I just love that that scene. I think that's maybe my second favorite, I guess, then.
Is it?
Yeah.
Your first favorite is the opening.
Oh, but hands down. Hands down.
Yeah, wait, let's talk more about that opening. I want to talk about the first thing that I noticed was like her awesome fashion.
Oh my god.
I love
So
that yellow
90s.
sweater. I love the yellow sweater. That's a wig though, right? That hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a cute wig. I love
It's a
it.
cute wig, yeah. It's not a lace front, but you know, we all can't be perfect.
I mean, it's definitely not Party City bad,
No, it's
but
not a shake and go. It's not a shake and go wig, but it's
and the
it's
tight jeans is awesome, and
yeah, I love the light blue.
uh-huh.
It's really cool. And she has that really cool 90s lipstick on. It's like that brownish red that was really big. It was more of like a
Oh yeah.
brown.
Uh-huh.
I love that. And she has no shoes on, which is even better.
I didn't
Like she's
yeah,
just
no, she's
sitting at home. Yeah, she's
funny.
chilling at home.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And then I just love how it just starts. Like it just builds.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of scary at first, but then like the tension just builds and builds, and it's normal. Like, oh, it's kind of flirty. Like, oh, he's kind of funny, whatever. And then it's like, oh shit,
It just turns real quick.
yeah, like oh shit, boyfriend is tied up. You know, like oh fuck. And then I think what really got me was when he threw that chair through the patio.
Window, yeah.
And it broke, and I was like, oh my god! Like,
Well, I think I definitely jumped. That was when my mom screamed. I was like, really? But yeah, then I jumped and I was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah, and then it's like this is super terrifying. And I think when you first see the mask, I jumped because I think he's turned around, like his back.
Because he's in the kitchen, right?
Yeah, and then he just turns really fast. And you're like, ah, like you just like aren't expecting to see it. But like the way that they filmed that was just like I did you find any kind of behind the scenes like video of like how they filmed it?
I didn't. I know there's a bunch of like YouTube videos.
Yeah, I'll have to
on
look
it.
that up.
There was a bunch. Oh well, I clicked on two, but it was a bunch of like Wes Craven like just talking to his cast.
Oh, okay.
So it was outside. There was a lot of muffles. It wasn't just like a
like a behind
interview.
the scenes where you see them filming it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're out there. Yeah,
crazy.
But it's interesting because like as I'm seeing it now with like fresher adult eyes, like you can definitely see the switch of when it's actually Drew Barrymore to somebody else.
Yeah.
When he first stabs her and she falls to the ground, it's like whoever they dressed up, you could see like she's got a longer face. If that makes sense.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
I think I was so scared. I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, I mean it terrifying. And
for it to be like right outside your house.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And like he really like went to like cut her vocal cords because she couldn't even get out anything.
That was the scariest part where she like rounds
and she's so close. Like
yeah, she's so close. And her parents are like walking up the
they're like admiring the flowers.
Yeah, and she's like right there. I was like, oh my god. It's almost like that behind you.
Yeah.
Like behind you.
It's really like the perfect scene though. I mean it
is
as
like
terrifying as it is, it's the perfect like, you know,
like opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really good.
And I mean, and that is consistent throughout the sequels. Like, yeah, some of the sequels got a little like not as good, obviously, as the first one, and a little bit lame, if I can say that. But the openings have always been kind of.
I can't remember the opening to the third, but the opening of the second was that one with like Jada, right? Jada Pinkett.
God, yeah, in the movie
theater. Yeah, and I love how it's super meta. Like it's all very meta at that point because they're watching a film about the first movie, but it's a fake movie about the first movie. Like
because she wrote because Gail Weathers wrote a book about it.
Yeah, it's like super like you're within like Inception, like you're within a movie, like, and it's cool. I like how they did that way before Inception was a thing, like in a horror movie. That's pretty next level to have all these like different realities like in one and coexisting. It's kind of cool.
As I'm looking back, I'm trying to remember how the third one started.
Yeah, I don't remember how the third. I didn't like the third one that much. I think I've seen it like twice, maybe.
They were stretching.
Yeah, it was like they were trying to jump off that. Ooh, the second one was big. Like, let's do another one. You know, like because they waited a while for Scream 4. That was like a. Yeah. I saw that in the theater because I was.
And that was like a dream within a dream within a dream.
Yeah,
sequence. Yeah, it was weird.
Too. Yeah, I have so many like iconic fashion looks that I love, and basically they all come from Tatum.
Oh,
Tatum's. I love her outfits. I love the red pants with the stripes and that like half shirt jersey thing that she wears. I love that, and I also love the one that she dies in. That like really psychedelic skirt and like the boots and that really cool sweater and her like nipples pointing out.
Can I be the helpless victim?
When she opens the door to the garage, and I was like, and it's cold.
Right.
They probably told her, like, I don't know. They were like, okay, you need to do this.
So this teaches you that if you have big breasts, do not go through the kitty door.
You wouldn't be able to fit through there. Like, she wouldn't have made it through anyway. And there's no way that her weight would have pulled up a garage door.
No.
The garage door is like tin.
Yeah.
Like, it would not have gone up. Like, unless it was like brick or something, and even then, like it just couldn't support that.
True, but going off of your fashion, since we're now in fashion, Gail's fashion is just everything that I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, everything that a woman would wear to the office with the shoulder pads, some neon bright colors sometimes. Because wasn't like the very first time you see her, isn't she like some kind of lime green? Yeah.
Someone give me a drag queen that's a Gale Weathers. I would love a Gale Weathers.
And I'm around drag queens all the time, and I can't even recall.
Oh man, right? I was just thinking, like, I would love a drag race or a snatch game, even with fucking Gale Weathers. Like,
I think the closest drag queen, if we're going to like maybe RuPaul status, to be a Gale Weathers type would be who was that one that had all the Botox and she did Detox. She had a lot of suits like that.
Yeah, she did. She had those like 80s power bitch neon. Mm-hmm. That was like that's totally her vibe.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Nice streaks. That's what we're gonna call the second Scream episode. It's just gonna be called Nice Streaks.
I'll do it if you want to. Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll totally do Scream 2. We won't release it like next week or anything.
No. But
yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we should definitely do Scream 2 because they both come out
waiting for a little bit.
Yeah. What other fashion looks? Yeah, Gail. I forgot about Gail. She was pretty awesome.
Honestly, and this isn't like a character costume, but even the furniture in almost every house was like very 90s.
Very 90s, especially Casey's house in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the TVs were all like so much smaller.
Oh my god!
Like even in Stu's house when they're all gathered and they have that big house, they have that big country house. But like when you see them all watching the TV, it's like the small, like maybe like 30-inch, like square. Like it's not even like a big screen. Like
I think in the 90s, and I have to look it up, but I think that the biggest screen is like 40. 50.
For those TVs, people had those big screens, those ones that sat on the floor that were like massive. Like those were like the big screens, but they're like, I mean, no one had those. I think I knew like 2 people who had them. Like,
I mean, now they're like super, super flat, super thin.
Yeah, and like wide.
And like 80-inch. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they're super insane. And then I know the music you love because you had the soundtrack and you played it all the time.
I have Scream 1, 2, and 3 soundtrack. And honestly, like soundtracks can go either way for me. I mean, the movie could suck. Obviously not this one, but like I don't know. I can't even think at the top of my head. But like a movie could suck, but the soundtrack could be like a freak ton of amazing, you know?
Yeah.
So the soundtrack here like had like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds with Red Right Hand,
which is now on Peaky Blinders, and that's like a big Peaky Blinders song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so weird that now it's like, you know, when I heard it, I was like, oh man,
I
I was
mean,
like,
just the instruments alone before the lyrics is just very haunty and very.
yeah.
Um, they did a second and a third version of the songs for Scream 2 and 3. They're not as good, but they add a little more like bump bump music to it.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
gonna call it bump bump music,
Yeah.
but like interestingly enough, so Alice Cooper's version of "School's Out" was replaced by I think a cover band.
Oh, could they not get the rights for it?
Probably not. Which I don't understand. I mean, Alice Cooper seems pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I wonder. Maybe they didn't have the money. Maybe they
um,
wanted, like, a ton of money or
but it
something.
had more like of a techno beat to it, I guess, or
Uh,
pre-techno beat. I don't know what you call that. Um,
yeah, like that electronica.
Electronica, yeah. Um, Another group I liked was Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
that acoustic version of like "Don't Fear the Reaper." It's very
Mhm.
like seductive, but like also telling you a story. Um, that's definitely pointing at Billy at that very moment. It's really kind of cool. Um, I love that song "Youth of America" by Birdbrain.
Oh, is that who does it?
Yeah,
Say a prayer for the youth.
"Youth of America." Yeah,
Yeah, I like that song.
and that's when the party starts or something like that.
Yeah, uh-huh. That's when they're, like, driving to the party.
Um, but
Okay,
the whole soundtrack is amazing.
so good.
Um,
Well, let's get into our favorite scenes because we got some games to play
yes,
before the end of this one. So mine was obviously the first one.
mine too.
Yeah, I
Ham-
mean, how could it not be?
we've kept bouncing back and forth on it, so it's like we keep
Yeah,
referencing it.
so good. What's your other one? Or what are some other moments, I guess? Because there are just so many moments.
Yeah, and I know, which is weird because I don't know how to toggle between a scene and a moment, but these are just little ones where it's like the I call it the back alley scene where Sydney comes out and confronts Gail with Tatum. Gail is like talking about her book and she's like, I'll send you a copy. Sydney like just had enough of that moment. She snaps, punches her with her right fist, and like Gail goes sailing down
Mhm.
into the crowd. It's funny. And then like the next scene is like Tatum going like, "Damn, Sid, super bitch."
I know.
Yeah,
Bam, bitch down.
yeah.
So funny.
And then
Uh,
you see like the next day like Gail with her like welt on her face.
I know, and then she's like, "Stop it right there."
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's really like cute comedy kind of. And then my other one was like the like I said earlier, like Randy's almost death scene, as I call it, where he's
Yeah,
like
that was pretty good.
talking to the TV as this is going on behind his back. So it's pretty cool.
My 2 favorite Randy moments are in the video store where he outlines, like, "Everybody's a
I
suspect."
do like that one too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like, it's all a formula, like and he's just like, lists all these things, he's like, "If they watch Prom Night, they'd save time." Like, they just need to, like, watch all these movies, and then I like again when he does the whole thing again with, like, all of Stu's friends, like, "You
Mhm.
can't be a virgin, you can't have sex, you can't drink
And
or
they're
do."
like, no.
Yeah, they're all like, "No," and he's like, "You never say I'll be right back, because you won't be back." And
You in the kitchen with a knife.
yeah, like, I love that, like, I love all those, like, the rules, like, he's the one he also does it in the second one too. Like,
Oh
he
yeah.
does another, like, about rules of a sequel,
Mhm.
like, some people don't live, some people like, there's and it's true, it's, like, all these classic tropes of, like, sequels, and then I also love when you find out it's Billy, like, just from the moment that he turns, and then he's just like, "We all go a little mad
Oh
sometimes."
yeah, with his
And then,
blood.
like
He's like,
yeah, from then on, I was just like, "Oh," like, chills, I was like, "Oh, shit, it's getting real." I mean, it's been real for the whole fucking time, but, like, it's, like, super real, and I love the whole exchange with him and Stu, and I love how Stu's just like, "My mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me."
peer pressure.
Yeah,
It
like,
really is. I mean, it's if your parents are not around to guide you, then you
and
have everybody else
Stu
going
clearly
through it.
is dumb because it's all
Oh,
Billy.
yeah,
Like, Billy's the one that has the grudge, you know what I mean? Like, Stu is just dumb and along for the ride,
right.
essentially,
He's like,
but, like
"That sounds cool. I wanna do it too."
yeah, I mean, he's just, like, super yeah, it's just crazy. I love how he, like, doesn't die, like, Billy doesn't die. at first, you know, and then they're like, wait, this is when the killer comes back for one last scare.
Like, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and he like, yeah, and then he just like, she's like, not in my movie. And there's all these like references to like, and she says, not in my movie. And then before, like a little bit before when she's at the party with him and Billy's talking about something, and then she's like, this is my life. This isn't a movie. And then he's like, yeah, it is, Sid. It's
Big.
all one great big movie. Yeah. And you don't get to pick your genre. I was like, this is so
That's all of a sudden, like, that's when they have sex, and it's like, what?
yeah. Oh, yeah, all of a sudden she's just like, oh, fuck it. I'm like, he was just arrested for potentially killing you. You're about to find out that he probably like did something horrible to your mom along with killing her. And you are going to sleep with him?
I
I mean, he's hot, get it, but you know,
mhm.
no. Like it's just so funny. It's so weird. But yeah, ooh, I'm excited to hear your would you rather.
Oh, would my rather? Okay, so I've
Would
got,
my
huh?
would my rather.
I got two really good ones. So
Yeah.
one, out of these three deaths, would you rather want to be crushed by a garage,
No, Tatum.
stabbed and hung up on a tree,
No.
or gutted and left on the top of the news van?
Tatum.
Tatum.
I think so. Because everything else, I don't want to be gutted. They don't at least don't touch you with Tatum. Like she kind of died on her own, you know?
That's true.
She kind of like died from her own, like she couldn't get out any other way and she got stuck in where she was. But the other ones were like kind of up close and personal. Like
Yeah, I mean,
they meant to do it to you, you know? Hers could have been an accident. Like you don't know that anyone was there. So I would take that, although God knows I don't want anything like that to happen. But
no, that's true.
what would you do?
Me, I know this is gonna sound vain and everything, but because I want to stay relevant even in death, I would I would want to be hung up on the tree and displayed.
Oh no. No way.
I know that sounds so gruesome.
That's gross. But what's your second
okay,
one?
so my next one is my second and last one is, out of these three Wes Craven quote unquote monsters, would you rather be stalked by a nightmare demon, stalked by a demented teen, or romanced and killed by Eddie Murphy?
Is that vampire and
Vampire in Brooklyn.
yeah, yeah.
I just got reminded that was Wes Craven as well.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
Yeah.
I think I think the third. I would definitely
Romanced
rather
and killed by Eddie Murphy.
yeah, well, because he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we just did Interview with the Vampire, so like vampire equals like sexy death. So like, yeah,
True.
go for
I
that
think I
one.
would do that one, yeah.
I know how they write it. I have two fuck Mary kills for you.
Okay.
The first one is fuck Mary kill Stu, Billy, and Randy. Those are the three. For the first
Mary Stu, because I think like
two. Yeah, he was pretty fun.
I think like his nerd and my nerd could mix.
Aside from him being psychotic.
Other than me, yeah. And I'd marry. Wait, what did I say? Oh, I'd marry Stu, fuck Billy, kill Randy. No, wait. Yeah. Wait, no.
Yeah.
I would marry Randy because he's really knowledgeable.
Yeah, that's true.
I would fuck Billy and kill Stu.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about marrying Billy, but if he wasn't so crazy, I feel like I would have like I feel like he would age better.
I mean,
than he has positive Riverdale. So like, yes, I would probably. But if he wasn't so crazy, but I would definitely like marry Randy and fuck Billy and get rid of Stu because Stu would be good for like. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like he'd be a good friend because he's like dumb and funny, but I don't know if I could like be married to him. Like after all, I'd be like, okay, another. This is the last one.
Sure.
Okay, fuck Mary kill the sheriff, the old sheriff, Sydney's dad, and Dewey.
Jesus. I'd marry the dad. I mean, because yeah,
He's not bad.
I'd kill the sheriff because he's just gross and yeah. And what was that? Oh, that would leave fucking
Dewey.
Dewey. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would pick that.
I have no rhyme or reason with the others. I don't know. Just because
Yeah,
it's bad.
pretty good. I would totally pick that. I definitely think I would pick that.
But yeah, no, I fucking love this movie. It was amazing to review, and I mean,
Man,
it's like a movie that you could just see over and over and not get bored.
Yeah, I literally never get tired of it. I'm like super stoked.
Another side note, real quick, that I forgot to mention a
what?
long time ago. So when you know how like when Sydney is like by herself in her house and she's flipping through the channels before she focuses on Gale Weathers, there is a channel that she turns into and it says reporter whatever the name is, and it's actually a picture of like older Linda Blair, who played Reagan in the action. Yeah, that was
wow.
it was like what, because it happened so fast.
Wow.
But another again, because Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven are like just horror fanatics, and they reference so much and it goes so fast. Like when you said Candyman, I totally forgot about that line.
Did he do Candyman? Wes Craven?
Actually, I think so.
I've never seen Candyman. I know the guy who plays it, and he's really creepy. He always plays like creepy roles.
They're rebooting that too.
Oh, no.
That actually looks really good.
Isn't that the one with Jordan Peele?
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually
really good. Yeah.
I know he didn't do that. Bernard Rose did the original.
Mm-hmm. And then he was oh my god, he was Death in the what are those movies where it's like Final Destination.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that was another like kind of crazy one. That when that first one came out,
I loved the first one. It made me so super afraid to fly planes for a while, or fly airplanes for a while. But then they kind of just got ridiculous. Like I love imagination and how a person would die in different scenarios, but they just got a little like weird. And then actually I was just talking to Justin earlier before we started recording. I think they made like 6 of them, and then I only saw like maybe 4 of them.
Oh wow, okay.
Because I think they did this like 3D one where it just made me nauseous, and maybe that was like their point, but
but you were like, nah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I can't do it.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah.
Man, well, this was another awesome episode. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, whatever the fuck. Rate and subscribe, I guess, not like.
Right. Rate and subscribe.
YouTube, but subscribe and write a review and help us out.
Please.
But yeah, we will see you on the next one.
See you on the next one. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.